Hey guys, it's Alexandra from iloveknots.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a corner-to-corner wall hanging of the letter A. It's just a giant letter A. This does not have to be a wall hanging. You could also leave off this dowel row and sew a bunch of corner-to-corner box squares together to make an afghan, or you can make two of these and sew them together to make a vertical throw pillow. I'm working on a USA wall hanging to decorate with in my living room, but I also have a single letter that I use on my gallery wall throughout the year. It also makes a great wedding present, anniversary present, baby shower gift. For mine, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver yarn and a J10 6mm crochet hook. I really like Red Heart Super Saver for my home projects. It's durable, washes okay. Similar yarns to this are going to be Caron 1 pound and Bernat Super Value. But really, you can use your favorite worsted weight yarn for this project. It's going to be hanging on the wall. Gauge is not terribly essential unless the finished size is essential to you. I will explain gauge for this project. This wall hanging is about 10 and 3 inches wide, so you'll want a dowel that is at least 12 inches or longer. I got this one at my local bird store. That's why it has a line cut out, because it's a perch for a bird cage, but you can get them at your local hardware store or even your local craft store. I've also gotten some from Joann's and Michael's. For my USA wall hanging, I actually bought a dowel that is 36 inches long, as I plan to put all three of them together. But for single wall hangings, I use a 12-inch long dowel. I've seen many wall hangings made with sticks out of the backyard, so you could do that too. You're going to find the written crochet pattern to this at iloveknots.com. I will link that in the description below. I have the pattern for all 26 letters. This video tutorial is just showing how to make the letter A. I work from a written pattern and not from a chart, but I do provide charts for all of the letters, including this letter U. I do not work from the charts, but I am going to insert a clip here from another tutorial showing how you could use a chart in place of the written pattern. Some people will print this chart out and they will work their chart, and as they complete the rows, they will just mark a line through, meaning I just completed row 2, I'm working in this direction. After row 3, you would mark it like this. I just completed row 3. You can absolutely do that. I will provide the link where you can get this chart, but I do not work from the charts. I like to work from a written pattern. So I have here on the side, I have my notes for each breakdown, and I just have like 1 cream, 2 orange, and 5 cream, and that's how you're going to see it written in my patterns. But I also provide this chart so you can do it either way. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a slip knot. So I've pulled the tail end over my fingers. I'll wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger, pull the loop that's on the left up over the other loop but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the loop that's now on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop where my finger is. I'll hold the working yarn with my right hand, and with my left hand I'm going to pull on the short tail end to tighten the knot up to normal tension. And now we're ready to begin. Row 1 is going to have 1 box. We're going to start with a chain 6. Cha-chain, we yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. That's 3. I want 6. Each time we start a row by increasing, we're going to start with a chain 6. And we're going to work into the chain exactly as I'm about to show you, and this is how we're going to build a box. So we don't count the loop that's on our hook. We're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and in that chain we're going to work a double crochet. To double crochet, we yarn over, insert your hook directly into the center of the chain, yarn over, pull through. There are 3 loops on your hook right now. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And we'll double crochet into the next chain, yarn over, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And one more double crochet into that very last chain. And I'm just tightening the slip knot up a little bit, and here is our very first box. We have the 3 double crochets that we worked, and then these skipped chains also count as a double crochet. So each box is comprised of 4 double crochets. To begin row 2, we're going to start with a chain 6. And we're going to work into this chain the same exact way as we just did for our first box. We're going to work a double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have this alligator mouth shape. We're going to take that bottom box and flip it so it's mirrored. When you lay this top box down onto the bottom one, it should naturally fill that space and put you in a position to work into that very last stitch. If you're counting from the box underneath, 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. This stitch is the one that we want to slip stitch to. So it's also the beginning chain that we skipped. Just insert your hook into the top chain, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on your hook. That is a slip stitch join, and that's how we will secure each box to each other. So far for round 2 we have 1 box worked and we slip stitch joined. Just as I mentioned before, for each row that we are increasing, we're going to start with a chain 6 and work down the chain to form the first box. But for each box that we create in the center, we're going to start with a chain 2. And this chain 2 is equal to one of the double crochets as well. We're going to build our boxes in the middle into the side of the previous row's box. So what we're looking at right here on the top, that's one of the stitches from the previous box. We want to work into the space that's in between that stitch and the next stitch, right in the center of those 2 stitches. That's where we're going to work 2 double crochets. Just insert right into the center space, yarn over, pull through, and complete your double crochet. As you do this, you're going to crochet right over that last stitch. So it's on top of my hook right now and I'm crocheting over it. When we work in the center boxes, we will work a chain 2 and 3 double crochets into that space. But on the edges, I always do just 2 double crochets into that space, and then I work my last double crochet into the foundation chain on the left side. This is going to help give me a more even edging. And when I work, I'm actually going to be working into the 3rd stitch and not the 4th stitch of that previous box. And you can see down here where my thumb is on the bottom left corner, that's 1, 2, 3 stitches from that previous box. That is where I want to insert my hook, directly into the center of that foundation chain and complete my double crochet. This is going to give me the best look for my edge, the cleanest look, the most straight look. If you go into that top stitch, then it has like a dip in there. You don't have to work it into this stitch. When you put the border on it, it will even it out. But I like to do it this way. I like to have my clean edge all the way around before I even put the border on. This is the end of row 2, and we now have 2 boxes. In row 3, we're going to introduce our second color, which in my case is going to be white. Our row is going to be 1 blue box, 1 white box, and 1 blue box for a total of 3 boxes. I'm going to start with my chain 6. I'm going to work double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, into the 5th chain from the hook, and into the 6th chain from the hook. We're back to our alligator mouth shape here, so I'm going to flip the bottom so that it's mirrored. Then I want to insert my hook into the top of the last stitch from this previous row's box. I'm not going to complete my slip stitch because I'm going to introduce my new color here, but I want to insert my hook into that stitch. Remember that when you naturally lay your boxes together, it's that stitch right next to it. It's also the 4th double crochet, so if you need to, you can count over from 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch, and now I'm going to put this down for a moment. Here's my white. I'm going to form a loop with a tail end long enough here that I can comfortably weave in. So I'm picking this up and I'm holding the tension with my index finger. I'm going to put that loop on my hook. This is going to count as the yarn over for the slip stitch, and I'm going to pull it through both stitches to complete my slip stitch. So that's through the stitch that I just inserted my hook and through the loop that's on my hook. Then I'll just tighten down the blue until it disappears. Row 3 is going to be our wrong side of the fabric, the side that's not facing. So I'm going to bring my tail end for the blue to the front, and the white tail end I'm also bringing it here to the front. And now I just pick up my white and I'm ready. As we increase, we start with a chain 6 and then we work down our chain to create our first box. In the middle and in the last box, we start with a chain 2. So here I'm in the middle, I'm going to start with a chain 2. I'm taking that fabric on the left and I'm going to fold it down so it doesn't get in my way. And I want to make sure I hold back the tails too. I don't want to crochet over those here. Then I'm just going to work 3 double crochets into that space right there in between those last 2 stitches of that previous box. And that's my second box for the row. My third box is going to be blue, so I'm going to introduce another strand there. I don't want to take the strand that I started with because I'm going to need that to continue moving in that direction. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that stitch that I'm going to slip stitch to, which is the very top, and then I'm going to set this down. If you have another skein of yarn, this is a great time to grab the center pole, make a loop, and put that on your hook. It's going to help you with the yarn tangling. I'm working from the same ball of yarn that I started, so I'm just going to grab the tail end from the other side. I'm going to form a loop with a tail end long enough that I can comfortably weave in, pick up my work, hold the tension, put that loop on my hook. It counts as the last yarn over of the slip stitch. Then I'm going to pull it through both stitches to complete my slip stitch. Then I'll pull down on the white so that that loop disappears. Bring the white tail to the front. Bring the blue tail end to the front. And now I'm ready to work my last box with this blue. I'm going to start with a chain 2. Then I'll work 2 double crochets into that space in between those stitches from that last box. In my third stitch, I'm going to work it on the edge into that top stitch of the foundation chain. This is the third stitch, remember. Insert my hook right into the center of that stitch and complete my last double crochet. And there's the end of row 3 with 3 boxes. Row 4 is going to be 1 blue box, 2 white boxes, and 1 blue box. One way that you can help with your yarn tangling is the direction in which you're turning. So we're starting here with our chain 6. I work down the box and then I turn it this way. But to help avoid the yarn tangling, you can alternate, work 1 row turning it to the left and work 1 row turning it to the right. This is going to help so that your yarn strands don't cross paths. You are going to see that I do not work this way. I do not alternate which way I turn my work, and therefore my yarn balls tangle up a lot and I have to fight with my yarn. And the reason I don't do that is because it changes the look of the chain, and it changes the placement of the stitch. And I don't mean like it actually changes where the stitch is, I mean it changes the direction of the chains. So right now we can see here that we're looking at the back of that chain. When you alternate your turning direction, then sometimes you'll be looking at the front of the chain. And not necessarily here where I'm pointing to, but I just wanted to show you an example. That difference bothers me, and therefore I do not alternate the way that I turn my work. But if the tangling is a big problem for you, then I suggest giving it a try because it will save you a lot of time and frustration. There are many times where I want to just cut my yarn because it's tangled up so much. Alright, moving forward, I'm going to double crochet into the 4th chain, into the 5th chain, and into the 6th chain. Flip my bottom fabric, and this is where we're going to come across the 2 types of yarn carries when we're changing colors. The first one is here, where I'm going to be pulling my white strand over, because right now it's right here, and I'm going to pull it over to the right. Before I show you this, I would just want to add a disclaimer here that this is the way that I like to change my colors. It is not the standard way, but it is the way that I enjoy doing it in corner to corner boxes because I think it's the most seamless. If you have another way that you prefer to use, go ahead and do that, but I'm going to be working and showing in my preferred way. So I'm going to slip stitch join as normal, hold the tension with my right hand, drop the blue, pick up the white tail, I'm going to tighten it up, and then I'm going to just grab it and naturally pull it over. I don't want that float that I'm pulling to be too tight because it'll bunch up my fabric, and I don't want it to have too much slack or it will look messy. So just naturally grab it and pull it over. If you need to redo it, then you can just release your loop from your hook, insert back into the blue, and grab the white and pull it through. Then I'm going to take that blue strand that I dropped and I'm going to pull it so that this loop here disappears. Then I'll fold my fabric down, put my loop up to normal tension there, chain 2, and I'm ready to work my first white box. When I work this box, I'm going to crochet over that white float that you see there in the back. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the stitch right there, into that space in between those two stitches. And when I do that, I'm picking up that blue stitch on my hook, and the white float is there as well. Then I'll complete my double crochet as normal, and then I have 2 more, do the same exact thing. And slip stitch as normal. And then I'll take a moment to show you the back. We did pull over that white tail here, but then we crocheted over it so you don't even see it anymore. I have 1 more white box here, chain 2, fold down my fabric on the left, work my 3 double crochets into that space there in between those 2 stitches. And now we're ready for our next color change. In this case, I'm taking that blue strand from the bottom and I need to pull it up. So I'm going to tighten it first. I want to tighten up down here. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch where I'm going to slip stitch. And when I do that, I'm going to pull that blue strand over so it's on top of my hook. Then I will take my white and I'm going to complete my slip stitch. I'll show you that one more time here. I've just finished my white box. Insert my hook into the stitch as if to slip stitch. Tighten up that blue strand that I'll be switching to and pull it over my crochet hook. So right now there's that stitch I just inserted my hook into and the blue strand, and then I'm going to complete my slip stitch. Then I'll drop the white, grab the blue, pull it over my hook, pull it through the white loop, and then pull the white tail so that that white loop disappears. Then I'll chain 2, work 2 stitches here into this space in between those stitches. And then my last stitch, I'm going to work into that stitch there on the edge from the foundation chain there, right into the center of it, and complete my double crochet. I'll pull up a loop here really quick so I can show you the back of that. When you pull the yarn up, it creates a float. That is this strand right here. If I insert my hook underneath it, you will see it even better. But I find that it blends in so well with the boxes that you don't even notice it. And from the right side, you don't see it at all. So when we have to pull our strand over to the right, we slip stitch first as normal, then we pull the strand over and through. When we have to pull the yarn strand up to change colors, we insert our hook, pull the yarn strand up first, put it over the hook, then complete our slip stitch. To the right, complete your slip stitch first and then pull it over. When you pull it up, pull the strand up over onto your hook and then complete your slip stitch. I think it just puts you in a better position and it locks in that stitch from the back, that float. It's easier to grab here, and it just, when you pull those loops down, it just makes for really seamless color changes. Row 4 had 4 boxes, 1 blue box, 2 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 5 is going to be 1 blue box, 3 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Alrighty, there's the end of row 5. We had 1 blue box, 3 white boxes, and 1 blue box. And you saw that I pulled the strand over here after I slip stitched. And then up here, I put the strand on my hook first and then completed my slip stitch. For the remaining rows, I'm going to be fast forwarding through the middle sections. Now it's time to take gauge. I'm going to go ahead and insert a clip here from when I worked the letter U to go over gauge, and then I will be back for row 6. If the finished size of this wall hanging is important to you, you're going to want to go ahead and measure your gauge now. Measuring gauge means you're taking your tape measure, you're measuring from the left edge over to the right edge, and you want it to measure 4 1/4 inches. The other side is a little bit different. It's not going to be the same exact size, but you measure the same way from the top to the bottom, and it should be about 4 1/8 inches tall. If the finished size is not important to you, it doesn't matter what it's measuring. If it is important to you and it's not correct, depending on if it's smaller or larger than the measurements I just gave you, then you will need to switch to either a larger or a smaller crochet hook, rework the first 5 rows, and then take gauge again. I'm right on point. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Row 6 is going to be 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Here's the end of row 6. We had 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 7 is going to be 2 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Here's the end of row 7. We had 2 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 8 is going to be 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 3 blue boxes. Here's the end of row 8. We had 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 3 blue boxes. Row 9 is going to be 4 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. There's the end of row 9. We had 4 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 10 is going to be 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 5 blue boxes. There's row 10. We had 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 5 blue boxes. Row 11 is going to be 6 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. There's row 11. We had 6 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 12 is going to be 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, 5 blue boxes, 1 white box, and 1 blue box. So I'm going to go ahead and work the first 3 color sections, and then I'll show you how to add the next 2. Here I've worked my third color section, so I have 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, and 5 blue boxes. I'm going to insert my hook as if to slip stitch, and then I'm going to set that down. I need to introduce white here. I have just 1 white strand going here on the bottom, so I'm going to turn to my yarn ball and go to the tail from the other end. I'll make a loop here with a tail end long enough to weave in, put that on my hook, it counts as the yarn over, and I'm going to pull through to complete my slip stitch. Then I'll work my 1 blue box, insert my hook as if to slip stitch, and then I'll set this down. Now I need to add a blue strand here. I just finished working with 1 blue strand, and here in the beginning is another blue strand. So I'm going to find out which one's coming from the center pull of the ball. And that's this one right here in the middle. I'm going to go to my ball of yarn, and I'm going to pull out a long strand of yarn. This is what I have. I'm going to fasten off here. I will use this strand that I just cut that's now coming from the center of my ball, and I'm going to attach that here. But first I'm going to take a moment to untangle my yarn. Remember I said that I don't alternate my turning directions, so my yarn tangles really easily, and every opportunity that I fasten off, I take that moment to untangle. Another way you can help prevent tangling is by taking this yarn and wrapping it into a bobbin, like a butterfly bobbin. It'll be much easier to work with and to untangle. I just go with the flow, so I'm just going to leave it exactly like it is there. Here I'm forming a loop with a tail end that I can weave in. Put that loop on my hook, it counts as the yarn over for the slip stitch, and then I'm going to pull through to complete the slip stitch. And then I'll finish off here with just 1 blue box. That's the end of row 12. We had 1 blue box, 4 white boxes, 5 blue boxes, 1 white box, and 1 blue box. This strand that I cut here, I'm going to continue working with that here in the middle until I run out, and then I'll do the same process to reattach the yarn later when I need it. Row 13 is going to be 1 blue box, 2 white boxes, 5 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. There's the end of row 13. We had, waiting for the camera, 1 blue box, 2 white boxes, 5 blue boxes, 4 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Row 14 is going to be 1 blue box, 5 white boxes, 4 blue boxes, 3 white boxes, and 1 blue box. Here's the end of row 14. We had 1 blue box, 5 white boxes, 4 blue boxes, 3 white boxes, and 1 blue box.